There's one small thing. Dead time. I think I remember a question on this dead time. Dead time occurs in many types of processes and it is the most difficult process to do. Process dead time from a process response curve. It is the amount of time that elapses before any output response occurs after an input change is applied to the system. This is called dead time. I need to connect to these levels. So I was just discussing dead time. Dead time is the amount of time that elapses before any output response occurs after an input change is applied to the system. Okay. For an example, determine the dead time of a process. If the temperature detector is located 50 meters from the heat exchanger and the velocity of the process fluid in the discharge tube is 10 meters per second. So in this case, dead time is, there won't be any calculation, I'm just giving it for the sake of you being able to understand it. So TD is equal to D by V. D is 50, V is 10 meters per second, so we have 5 seconds as a dead time. It gives you an explanation of what dead time actually means. Okay? Clear? So then we come to advanced control loops. So different type of advanced loop are. First is cascade control loop, and this is an important topic because you would be getting at least a couple of questions on this. The general concept of a cascade control is to place one feedback loop inside another. In effect, one takes the process being controlled and finds some intermediate variable within the process to use as a set point for the main loop. So the inside loop provides the set point for the outer loop. Okay. So if we're talking of two loops which are working, so there will be an external loop and an internal loop. So the internal loop will provide the set point for the external loop. The question normally that comes on this is, how do you, one question would be that they would give you a PNID diagram and ask you to identify the set point for the external loop. What is the set point that is being set? Which is the internal loop? First you would have to identify the internal loop, then you would have to identify the external loop, and then you have to look at what is the set point. Ideally, what you need to do is simply loop you can identify, loop numbers are provided. So you have to identify which is the internal and which is the external. Once you've done that, you'll be able to identify what is the set point. It's not very difficult. Example is here. Now, this is a pressure and temperature cascade control. What is happening here is, loop is same. So within the same loop, we have a PIC and a TIC. So moment you have two controllers, you know it is a cascade control. Right? Moment you have two controllers, you know that it's a cascade control. Now look at which is the internal control. Now what is happening here? We have a furnace. And then we have a TIC and a PIC. What are we trying to control here? We are trying to control the fuel which is going in. We are trying to control the temperature of the furnace. Right? Now, which controller is actually controlling the control element? That is PIC. So, which becomes the external loop? Your PIC automatically becomes your external loop, because that is the one which is controlling the final control element. Your TIC is just doing a temperature indication, and taking that temperature, it is providing that temperature to the PIC as the set point. Is that clear or no? If you want, I can still go on it. Okay, one more thing. First thing is, what is this TIC? Can anybody explain the features of this TIC? Temperature indicating controller. It is based inside on the control panel.
Yeah, control panel.
Accessible to the
Operator.
And what type of signal is it input and what is the output?
The electrical input.
Electrical is the output. It is giving a set point to the. Yes? And what is the input to TIC? Huh?
What is symbol?
Let me open it up again. It's a filled system, filled thermosystem. It's a thermometer. It's a filled system, thermo-filled system. You will receive a question on thermo-filled system also. One question would always be there on thermo-filled systems also. And normally it is linked to PNID. Okay? Great. Okay, what is this system? Now what is the PIC doing? Sorry?
Is getting electrical signal instant 4 to 20 milliamps and converting to
Yes, it is getting two signal on 420 milliampere. One, the set point is on the 420 milliampere, and even the control variable of the system, the PV process variable, that is the pressure, is also on 420 milliampere, and its output is. Jaideep, what is the output? What is the output of the controller?
output is I think GPM means flow.
Output is pneumatic.
Oh, so yeah, it's okay.
It is controlling the valve.
Yeah.
Don't make these mistakes. Okay. So be very careful when you're reading these. Let us look at the next diagram, flow and temperature cascade. What is happening here? Again the same thing, but instead of sensing the pressure, what we are doing is we are sensing and controlling the flow of the fluid. Process remains the same, but the variable changes. Instead of controlling controlling pressure, we are controlling the flow. So again we have our TIC, and the TIC is providing us output to FIC. FIC is flow indication controller. And then we have our FT with a flow element. Right?
Yes.
Now, how do we tune a cascade controller? This is your question, which will be coming always. There are two questions that come. First thing is, the secondary or the input slave controller would always include a proportional mode. Your first question. The outer loop should contain proportional mode, and if the loop is sufficiently important, then you should probably include reset to eliminate offset in the outer loop. If there is a large amount of lag, one thing always remember, derivative action is added to reduce the lag in the system. Integral action introduces a huge lag in the system. It introduces time delay in the system. Derivative action is added to to make the system fast. Okay? Very important, you should mark that out. Integral action introduces a lag in the system. To reduce that lag, the time delay in the system, you introduce a derivative action so that the system can become faster. Right? So, derivative action always is introduced into system to make the system faster, response of the system faster. Okay? Now, tuning. Tuning of the cascade control is same as the tuning of all feedback controllers, but the loop must be tuned from inside out. Very important, it's inside out. First you tune your inner loop and then you tune your outer loop. The important thing is, what they ask is, how do you tune? Put your inner loop in manual mode, tune your inner loop, put it in auto, then you can write down the sequence. First put both inner and the outer loop in manual mode. So sequence is inner and outer loop both are in manual mode. Inner and outer loop in manual mode. Tune inner loop. Put it in auto mode. Tune outer loop. Put outer in auto mode. So their question is, normally they would ask is, how do you tune your cascade control? Cascade control loops. Tune your inner loop, put it in manual mode, then tune your outer loop. Tune your inner loop, put it in auto mode, then tune your outer loop. Tune your outer loop, put it in manual mode, tune your inner mode. inner loop. So the sequence is always that you have to select is tune your inner loop, put it in auto mode, then tune your outer loop. Why? Because once the inner loop is properly tuned, the outer loop can be tuned so that it should be, the outer loop should be able to see the tuned inner loop as the way it is supposed to perform, so that if there are any changes that are made, those changes are reflected in the inner loop immediately. If it is in manual, what would happen is when you're trying to tune your outer loop, you cannot predict the changes of your inner loop. So your outer loop tuning would always be wrong. Okay? Another common type of feedback control system is ratio control. There have been questions on ratio control also. Ratio control is often associated with process operations in which two or more streams must be mixed together continuously to maintain a steady composition in the resulting mixture. So you have example, practical way to look at it is, you have a conventional flow control on one stream, and to control the other stream is a ratio controller that maintains a flow in some ratio or fraction of the primary stream flow. So what happens here is, you have an FFIC. This is a controller which is controlling my controlled flow. So one is, we have an uncontrolled flow, air, and then air and fuel control wherever we have. This is the best example for ratio control. So we have air, then we have fuel. So we are trying to control, we don't control the air, we just sense air. So if we have to maintain a 10:1 ratio, we sense what is the flow of the air. Once we sense the flow of the air, what we do is, we know the flow of the air, the FFIC uses that as a set point. Using that set point and using a ratio control of, let's say, 10:1, if the air is 10 GPM, fuel now would be controlled at 1 GPM. So this is ratio control. Yeah. Another loop is feed forward control loop. Again, you would always have one question on this. Feed forward control. Up till now, we've been talking of feedback control. What happens in feedback control is, when we have a feedback control, what we are doing is, we have a system, we have PV, and then we have SP. Right? There is some error. Then we have our CV. We check an error between SP and PV and take a corrective action. This corrective action is called CV. So the error control is here. This is the error. We are taking an action based on an error in the system. So feedback control says action based on error in the system. Feed forward says, I am not going to wait for the error. I will take action ahead of time. How do I take action ahead of time? I know my input is going to vary so much So I add a corrective action in my control algorithm which takes care of the error. So example is, I know that, let's say I have a heat control system again, where a furnace is there. I'm trying to control the flow. Right? Now the feed is coming in. I know the feed amount will always be 100 GPM, and I have a temperature, of hot water or hot steam, which is heating up that feed. Right? Now what happens is, I say is that feed is at 100 GPM, so my control logic says because of 100 GPM, my hot steam that is coming in would have a flow of 30 GPM. That is sufficient to maintain the heat. But I know at 12 o'clock the feed would have to increase because my load has increased, will be increasing. I need the extra load. So I program my logic in such a manner that moment my load increases, my feed increases, automatically my flow should increase. I am not worried at what is the temperature of the feed. Got my point? No. Did not understand. Okay. Let me just draw it out.
So,
I'll just draw it out. But I'll just drawing out, okay? I have a tank. I have a feed coming in. And this is my outlet. Then I have my steam, which is coming in, steam in. And my steam out. In a normal feedback system, what I would be doing is, I would check the temperature here. So I have a temperature transmitter. This temperature transmitter will go to a TIC, which would go probably to, will control the steam. Right? This is what I would do in a normal feedback system. However, now I am saying feed forward. Feed forward does is, it says no, I don't need this. Why should I wait for error to happen? I am not taking a corrective action. I will take a preemptive action. What is preemptive action? I know what I do is, instead of doing that, I check my feed in. I check my flow here. Flow of the feed. And as the flow increases, I increase my steam in. So I am not waiting for an error to happen. I am looking at the change in my load and accordingly taking an action. So I am not even worried about the error. I am not worried about the temperature of my feed. So temperature is gone. I am taking a preemptive action. Before the error happens, I have taken an action already. For this, now I have to know my system. So an instrumentation guy or any engineer who's programming the PLC with this kind of has to know his system. He's supposed to be aware that these are the things that might happen. So this is called a feed forward system. Normally feed forward systems are not preferred. Normally feed forward systems are not preferred. What you do is you have a feed forward and a feedback system both working. So you, even though you are controlling everything based on your feed, on your load change, you still take the feedback of your temperature. So that is called a feed forward and feedback system combined. Clear? I hope this is very clear the way it's been explained. Now you can read the notes that I have provided. it will confuse you a little first. Just go through it. The books don't explain these things at all. You can read through forward control loop. You can go through the tuning control loops. Tuning is never ever asked. So if you want to go through it, you can go through it. There are 3 or 4 pages on that. However, selecting controller action based on your control loop is a performance criteria is important. Always remember what happens is temperature, you would always select proportional band. You will also select integral band, and you can take derivative also, because temperature is a very slow process. So you need to speed it up. To speed it up, you would use a derivative band. In a flow control is a very fast process. Instant changes are happening, and it's a very turbulent action. Your valve is opening, closing very rapidly. So flow control proportional is always there. Integral usually is there because you need to at times slow down the system. Whenever you have to slow down the system, you add integral action to it. But never ever add derivative action to a flow control. It would wreck your system. Because the system is already fast. If you add derivative to it, it will become very unstable. Okay? Level is again, it's a medium level kind of a thing. It's fast also and slow also. So you would, as proportional is always there, integral is usually there, derivative is never there actually, not even really. Okay? Analytical is again, you have proportional and integral, and you can add derivative. Pressure is again a midway kind of a thing. So you always have proportional, you usually have integral. Sometimes you can add derivative to it. So there would be a question on this. They will provide you kind of a process, and they'll ask you what kind of controller action would you like to add to it. Okay? Just go through the tuning and the feed forward control that I said, and then we can take a lunch break, come back at 1 o'clock and continue with the, I am late by an hour. I should have finished the other part also now, but it's okay. We're still ahead of time. Okay, Jaideep? Jaideep, you there?